Back on this Monday, Chief of Police for the Evansville Police Department, Philip Smith, joins us once again. Good to have you with us.
Yeah, thanks for joining us this morning. So several topics we want to touch on, but first I want to ask you, because we had Officer Marison, how was the policeman's ball on Saturday?
You know, the policeman's ball was fantastic. It always is. Officer Marison does a great job, you know, being the ball chair. And we had a good time. We danced the night away. My wife's feet are still sore.
I saw one of the things they were auctioning off was lunch with you. So hopefully someone...
We went for a decent price. You know, we had to add the Assistant Chief Nathan Hassler in to sweeten the deal. But we went for a nice price. I'm not mad about it.
Wonderful. I'm glad it was a great
nice original
turnout.
stunt there. Good for them. All right. Now, in recent weeks, to turn to a more serious topic, we've had several school threats. They originate on social media. This is coming to, I guess, become normal in our way of life with social media and children attending school, and they want to get out of school. I think when we were younger, it would have just been a kid making a phone call in a phone booth somewhere. But there's harm to this, and it does suck up a lot of the resources these schools, these law enforcement agencies have. So how do you navigate this in 2024? You know,
it is very disruptive to the school day. It does take a lot of resources because we have to take these threats seriously, whether there's a kid or a student trying to get out of class or whatever. We don't know that until we investigate it. And so, you know, unfortunately, I was in high school when Columbine happened. And since then, you know, we've seen the proliferation of these things. And, you know, it was unfortunate what happened in Georgia a couple weeks ago. But after those kind of events happen, we start to see the influx in social media. And we just caution parents, you know, be involved in your kids' social media lives. See what they're doing, and, you know, talk to them. Some of these kids are doing this out of attention. Some of them are doing it to, you know, maybe get out of a test or whatever. But it's very serious, and we need the kids in our community to know that.
Speaking about how serious it is, this isn't like your typical, you know, kids do pranks and get involved in petty crimes at times. This carries a very serious, I guess, punishment.
Yeah, and the juvenile courts are, you know, taking this very seriously as well. We partner with them on, you know, we're the first part of the legal process, and then, of course, they go through the juvenile courts. But, you know, they're charging these kids with intimidation for these things because, I mean, you're actually scaring people. They're kids, parents. You know, I am a parent who has 2 kids in EVSC, and when these things are shared, you know, we have to find the origin of it, and it's just not a good deal.
And I know you had mentioned you were in high school. I was also in a school shooting when I was in high school. So I know firsthand what that feels like. But for students and parents, what would you caution them to do in the case that they see something? And what would you say to parents this morning? I know you're a parent yourself that might be worrying about this, you know, day in and day out.
Well, I think the most important thing is to not just overlook or gloss over. If you see something, say something, which is something we always say. Report it to the nearest school official, call 911, even if you don't think it's an emergency, if you think it may be a joke, call us so that we can start the investigation process and look into it.
And we do have EPD officers in place at these schools. Tell us about the relationship our department and school resource officers have with those administrations.
So those relationships are crucial, that you have a police officer on the day-to-day basis, not necessarily always enforcing, but just a friendly face for the kids and staff to be around. Those relationships matter. And when it comes to identifying some of these kids, our officers know these kids because they're in the school. So those relationships are paramount.
Absolutely. Do you have any more questions on that?
Okay. On that subject.
I want to turn to a happier subject, Fall Festival.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, talking a little bit about your role, the Evansville Police Department's role in preparing for Fall Festival, because I believe it's, you said 2 weeks away.
Yeah, 2 weeks from today it kicks off.
So exciting stuff.
It is. I was telling Tommy off camera that this is our Super Bowl. We prepare for this. You know, this is a year-round preparation for us, and our Special Ops Commander, Jason Thomas, is doing a good job of putting a plan in place. We're going to have a footprint down at the Fall Festival like no other. You see Evansville police officers uniformed down there. You see Vanderburgh County Sheriff's deputies. We also have several of our assets down there, drones, our SWAT truck. We also have officers that are going to be in plain clothes. So we're everywhere down there because there's a lot of people there, and we want to make sure that everybody's having a good, safe time.
And I imagine it's like a lesson plan, like a teacher would go through every year. It's going to be the same. But then again, there's another layer of security, a new type of awareness. What things do you see down there? I know we've had the half pot in the last 5 or 6 years down there.
That I'm hoping to win.
And that means a little bit more cash in the pocket of those visiting West Franklin. What kind of complaints or crimes do you see more often now than you may have about 5 years ago?
The biggest complaint dating back from when I became an officer to now and probably to the end of time is parking. trying to find, and you know, there's road construction there that I think won't be affecting the Fall Festival this year, which is a great thing. But, you know, we want to advise people to please don't park in front of people's driveways and block people, because people have to do their day-to-day routine, whether the Fall Festival is going on or not. So just be very careful where you're parking. If you see yellow paint down there, maybe find another place
Now I'll ask you
to
this.
park.
How legal is it to put, you know, just little locked lawn chairs and things like that in people's parking spots? They do that sometimes. The homeowner will put those items out there to kind of, you know, deter people from parking there. I mean, they do have a stake to that spot, right?
If it's their home, they can put a chair down. So there's nothing illegal about it. They're staking claim to their land.
West Siders know what to do.
And I do want to ask you too, because you guys normally have that command center like right in the middle. So folks, you know, there's a lot of kids down there. What should parents know maybe ahead of Fall Festival to keep their kids safe? And then what services you guys are offering at that little command center that you guys have?
So at our command center, we have it staffed with officers, and those officers just keep the information. There's an EMS tent at the very beginning where people take children. There's also the Vandenberg County Sheriff's Office, which is, I believe, at 10th and Franklin, that you can take your kids for the lost and found. We're all on the same radio channel, and when we come across a child, we radio and say, hey, someone missing a child, and if so, they can meet us at one of those locations. We would advise parents to put some identifying information with their kids, maybe a phone number, so that if their kid does get lost, they can pull out a piece of paper and say, hey, I'm missing right now, but this is my mom's or dad's phone number or my guardian, so we can call them. I mean, that'll speed up the process.
And there's an army of nut clubbers out there, too, that kind of work in concert with you guys. I want to show some images of Philip Smith in his infancy with the EPD. This is way before he was the chief of police.
Oh, that's my brother Ray right there.
I had asked this earlier when I had found photos of Phil. He has a brother that's 4 or 5 years older than himself, and looks very similar. In fact, he has a lot more hair at this
He
point.
does. He still has a lot more hair than I do.
So they were giving out hugs. It was free hugs from the EPD, and it was something that was kind of, I know it was born out of maybe an idea from another department somewhere, but folks really gravitated towards you. I think your personality and what folks know of you today was born out of that little stunt by the EPD.
Yeah, we were known as the hugging cops. So you know,
Did I get any photo? Is that photo you? Because I only got 2 photos.
That is Ray as well.
Okay,
So
so
you
all
got-
right, I'll go for 2 on this.
Your people got the better looking Smith is what happened there. But you know, that was super fun that I got to do with my brother. Yeah.
Your brother left the EPD,
Yes.
is now preaching the good word down south.
Yeah, so he's no longer a police officer. He was a sergeant. He left as a sergeant and went on to be a minister.
Well, I'm glad I
in
could feature him then,
Hopkinsville, Kentucky.
even
so,
by
yeah.
mistake.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for answering all our questions. We always appreciate you coming in
No,
here.
thank you guys for having
We'll
me so
see you in
much.
about 2 weeks.
See you in 2 weeks.
So
Big
sounds
hugs.
good. All right, we'll send things over to Gunner Consul. Rain on our forecast today. Gunner, what are we?